And then after that, we'll drywall and we'll tile and everything's beautiful in like a week and a half. And you're like, that sounds amazing. How do I have that in my life?
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to
Between
Two
Realtors.
I'm Savannah.
I'm Zach.
And this is our podcast.
Welcome
Hello.
to our humble abode.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
In the basement of Pioneer Realty Group.
Yeah.
It's quite cozy down here.
I call it PRG Studios.
I think that's a good one. It's like the end of the basement. It's literally it's cute. It's cozy. It's vintage, as we say in the real estate world.
Vintage and cozy.
And affordable.
If you went on Instagram right now and you searched for stuff, that would be the stuff that you would immediately after you would avoid all listing descriptions of that.
Cozy,
sort.
affordable vintage are ones usually people. Vintage isn't necessarily an avoiding one, but it's fine. We're going to talk about.
Endearing.
We're going to talk about something very interesting today that a lot of people love to compare our jobs to. It's called Hgtv.
And $1 Million Listing.
Yes.
My personal favorites.
Which I'm going to be honest with you all. I've never watched $1 Million Listing. I've watched Hgtv.
I wish that was what I did. Where I just.
But when I did take this job, I did not compare it to Hgtv. I didn't watch enough of it for me to think that I was going to be like the realtors on these shows.
I feel like I watched too much being at my parents' house.
Oh, that makes sense. But the whole purpose of this is that, like, when you take this job, it's something we usually tell new hires, like, it's not like Hgtv because it's not realistic to think that that's how all realtors and buyers and investors act.
The real in reality TV is not very real to the real world. Hope you followed that.
I really hope some of you have partook.
Really? You really hope that they followed it?
Partook in some activities prior to listening to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go through a couple of things just to compare Hgtv $1 Million Listing to the actual job that is being a realtor and helping clients. Let's start with like the whole, when people do these renovations and such.
So I think like first thing first, dispel the whole notion that like anyone can go flip a home, but maybe not everyone should go flip a home. Agreed. It's a little bit easier when you have the backing of like an entire TV network.
Of course.
And all their money.
And a team and people that are making sure that the show's going to look good and end well, correct?
Where does that random team of contractors come from?
I'm assuming the studio finds them. I don't even know.
It's like they've already like sourced everything before you even know what the project is, but yet they magically have like the perfect countertops and cabinets,
tiling.
And, like,
they have a tile specialist who can talk to you about all these things, and it's like it doesn't exist when you really flip a home unless you have a team like that prepared, which is very rare.
I'm over here. I'm gonna head to Home Depot. When I'm redoing my kitchen, hopefully soon, I am going to be going to ABT and hoping that they have something in stock because God knows in this inflated world, there is hardly anything in stock anymore.
True.
I might not have a fridge for like 2 months,
20 woes, everybody.
Yeah. And who the heck? I do have a tile guy, though. I think, now. So
okay, well, also...
I might be like them, on HGTV now.
Well,
maybe it won't be a flop.
It won't be a flop. A flip. Oh, my God.
Sorry.
The entire point of us saying is, like, this random team of contractors that just comes onto the show doesn't exist when you're actually flipping a home unless you come in with the team. But if you're coming in and you're wanting to flip a house or an apartment or whatever it is, this random team isn't just waiting for you when you do it.
Yeah. Like, so like real world. So like you have, or maybe like in HGTV world, you have like the perfect sequencing by like your contractor for like, oh, I've got like the electrician's going to come in on this day. And then your like carpenter's going to come in on this day. And then plumbing's going to be here next. And then after that, we'll drywall and we'll tile and everything's beautiful in like a week and a half. And you're like, that sounds amazing. How do I have that in my life?
Yeah.
And then you go and you're like, okay, I want to put in some new lights here. So you go talk to like the electrician. The electrician's like comes out and he's like, this amount. And you're like, whoa, first things first, like I feel like I need another estimate because there's no way I can afford that. And then second thing hits you. Then he's like, oh, by the way, like I can do this job in like 3 months because I've already got like a number of other jobs like backed up.
Yep.
So then you're just living because you were silly or something, which is fine.
Yes.
This will probably be me. You like decide to like demo your entire like bathroom or kitchen. You're like, oh no, I thought all these people would just magically show up to do this stuff. Yeah.
You have to find all those people yourself unless you've already got a team. You have to make sure that their pricing's good. Like it takes a lot of work to have that. These shows have them on demand, ready to go, where you're going to have to do that work on your own. So it's a lot
It is literally their full-time job for the show. That's why they have all this stuff together already.
But when you're flipping a home and you don't have that team, you have to find that team yourself. And it takes a lot more time and effort and comparing prices. Like they've already done that for these clients or these clients that come onto the shows. But that's one piece of it. There's another piece of it that is like whenever you do end up deciding to flip something, it is really, especially your first time, it is, I would say, smart to get involved with a professional investor or someone who has done this before to make sure that you're doing the best job that you can. You don't just walk into a realtor and go, I'm going to flip this. And then we have this team come out.
There's all sorts of like different things too. Like, yeah, you might save up a bunch of money for an investment to flip a property and that, but it would really help you to also have all of the things that go along with that, like professionally. Aside from just having like a good realtor who knows the area and like can tell you which block or which home like is going to be able to be good, you're going to want to have a contractor that's like going on showings with you so you can get estimates immediately.
Oh, for sure.
You're going to want to have like a finance person who understands the differences between what you can actually finance for different homes, because depending on like what the structure and all that kind of stuff goes into it, like different banks and banking institutions don't necessarily write loans for homes that are,
a lot of times it's cash only.
Yeah, those kind of,
But the thing is, we have all these contacts ourselves, but maybe the contractors, the electricians, the plumbers that we have aren't ones that you want to pay for. Maybe they're too expensive for you, or they're not your type of person you want to work with. So again, we have all those contacts, but it's again, something that you have to decide. But if we, even not just flipping, I do want to talk about too, like HGTV, and I was a huge Love It or List It fan. Like literally, I would wake up on Saturday mornings and watch Love It or List It, and I loved Hillary and David and their Canadian selves. They were so cute. But it's really like, and I would watch David go and find these homes.
Hey.
This house, that's what he does. They would go in and they would find these homes that were just perfectly in the right area.
I'd be a great Hillary.
I would not. I'd be a good David, but I like David and Hillary. Anyway, it's very dramatic. I don't know if you ever watch HGTV. There's all this music.
Very dramatic.
And people always are like, well, we're going to have to figure this one out. I mean, yeah, but it doesn't have to be that dramatic. Like we usually
overly dramatic.
We get on the phone and go, hey, here's the issue. Let's figure out how to solve it. And then it's done in like whatever, 5-10 minutes. We've talked it out and we're going to be okay. Everybody in HGTV makes it seem like this deal's just not going to go through because of this. That doesn't really happen a lot of times.
That's like the same thing in like $1 Million Listing that ends up happening. Like every single time it's like, we got to find a house in like so many days and like this is going to happen. And although like everyone's nervous, it's not like the random clock that's in front of me like right now telling me how long I have until the end of this show, where I'm panicking to get everything out. So, but like, there's definitely that whole drama.
There's definitely emotion tied into the home sale process, right? Whenever you're leaving a house or you're flipping one, like you're putting a lot of time, effort, blood, sweat, tears into it. So there is emotion, but your realtor doesn't need to be dramatic about it.
I do not stick it to every realtor that I come across.
No.
I do stick it to some of them.
Sometimes you have to.
But it does not happen in every episode of my life every day.
And also it has to be warranted. Like something has to happen in order for me to do that. I'm never going to be the person that's instigating that. You know what I mean? I'm never going to do that unless you've forced my hand and made me do it. But
I'm triggered, is what you're saying.
Yes, if you've triggered me, I'm going to go back.
Like a caged animal.
Also, people in these HGTV shows are not usually very rational.
Or they're either like too rational or like too crazy. It's like on like, there's no like middle ground. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like you're throwing your phone or you're like I don't know. They just find like the
I'm
most
gonna
like
find the
weird
most,
people.
I'm going to find the most beautiful home in the city of Chicago for $100,000 and it's going to be okay. And it's like,
Whenever they find that, I'm like,
okay. Yeah. It's never a normal scenario. Like, because at the end of the day, it would probably be pretty boring to film stuff that is normal because our job is fun.
They should film attorney review.
That's when all the lawyers are going back and forth and you get to we sit back and do this.
And it's not like they go back and forth over the phone. It's just like random emails where like there's lines numbered with then like letters behind them. And it's like, lawyer speak.
And
Agreed.
then a lot of respectfully
declined. That's my favorite. Respectfully declined is like I wish I had the temperament to say respectfully declined.
Yeah.
But yeah, like those are all the weird things that like they don't show on TV.
And
that, like,
the negotiations too, we talk, then we'll close out there, right? Like, oh, we got this for $50,000 under asking. There was so much more that had to have gone into that. And I don't even know. It becomes.
There's so many other terms. There's so many other things that like don't go into it. And then some of like the scenarios that like they give people, it's as though like they forced each other's hand. And because you're like dramatizing it, you see both sides. And like half the time I have no clue what's going on with like the seller or the buyer.
And this is our job.
Yeah, like I do a lot of investigating. I pry a ton, a ton.
Yeah. But it's not.
I can only get so much information.
It's not as simple as someone going, "We got $50,000 off asking. It's done."
I don't go out and have steak dinners with like the other agent and say like, "Hey guy, let's get this negotiated out." Let's figure this out. Your client's there, my client's here. Let's figure this out.
It's called a phone call.
And all the while I'm over here playing poker, got my cards over here. Like, I know I can go up to this, because my client's already authorized me and I'm that big of a baller to make those kinds of decisions.
It is a fun job and we do a lot of talking with other people, but it is not dramatic. It shouldn't be dramatic at least. And it takes a lot more time than HGTV and $1 Million Listing make it out to be. This is something that happens.
I don't make just one phone call, or one text or one email.
Flipping and investing in properties is definitely something that you need to do a lot of research for. Make sure you're talking to a realtor and other vendors to make sure that it's the right decision for you. There's not just this team ready at your disposal for you when you do this. I feel like that's the biggest points we were trying to make.
The returns on investment too, although they are great, are usually over dramatized. Like they usually pick the one or two instances in which someone literally took a $200,000 home, gutted it, made it beautiful and it was the only home on that block that wasn't great.
Yeah.